and welcome to Sasa's Kitchen, and today I'm going to be sharing my recipe for our homemade bread. So we use our bread machine to make the dough and then we bake it in the oven. So my family one of the two foods we eat the most is bread and rice. So at my house we have a bread machine and it helps with making obviously bread as well as dough so that you don't have to use all that energy to knead the dough. So 1 1/3 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of oil, two and a half cups of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of yeast, and 3 tablespoons of ground flaxseed. Okay, so the dough is finished mixing, and then normally this is supposed to sit in the bread machine for another 45 minutes for it to rise more, but since I'm not baking it in the bread machine, I want to bake it in the oven, I take it out 45 minutes earlier. Okay, so this is my bread pan. You just make sure you remove the paddles. So I just shove this in and then you punch it down. So I rise my bread in the oven, so I preheat the oven and you leave it on for maybe 30 seconds just so the oven gets a bit warm, and then you put the bread inside. And then you put a timer on for about 1 hour. And when you warm up your oven to help the bread rise faster, make sure it's not too hot because it could kill the yeast. After you take the dough out of the bread machine pan, I recommend either washing it right away or soaking it with water because see there's bits of dough that are stuck to the paddles. If that dries, it's really hard to scrub or wash off, and then the paddles won't stick back onto your pan. So just put some water in it and let it soak off. It'll be easier to clean. So after it's finished rising, we're just going to remove it from the oven. So here's our bread, and make sure after it's finished rising, you don't want to touch it or bump it because it could like sink down. So you're going to preheat to 350 degrees and we're going to bake for 30 minutes. So the bread is all finished. This is our breadboard and our bread knife. When the bread is really hot, it's more difficult to cut it because it's quite soft, and so when you cut it, it will kind of like mush out. So you can wait a little bit before you cut it. So when I'm planning an afternoon tea, I normally bake my bread the night before, and as long as you don't cut it, it stays fresh and the moisture stays inside. The moment you cut it, it has ways to escape. So you bake the bread the night before, and in the morning up, then you can slice it nice and neatly. So that's the end of this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye. Bread.